Namaste, angels. This will be the weekly general reading for the period of Sunday, June 24th through Saturday, June 30th. Sunday, June 24th, or the 24th part at least, very special to me personally because I didn't have a name until June 24th. I did not have a name for the first 10 days of my life. On the 11th day, I was named. Yes, 11, in an indigenous people's naming ceremony. Mariama was whispered in my ear on the 11th day until it was told to me that that was my name. And that's when I got one. Also special, that story was briefly told in an animated short that's on my page, also on my channel, that a young man named Luke Mon created for me. And I think his name is special too, as it relates to the story, because my story that he told is how I relate and connect to Mary. And in the book of Luke, with his name being Luke Mon, the young man that put this together so creatively, in the book of Luke 136 through around 152 is where Mary is informed by the angel Gabriel that she's going to have a child. And it's where she goes to visit her cousin Elizabeth, who is also with child. Her cousin Elizabeth, who is much older than her, but is also with child. And that child would later be born John the Baptist. And that's also very special for this week, and I'll tell you in a minute why. But I don't believe in coincidences, so I just named a few. I got more for you too. So you know, my name is Mary, essentially. My name is Mariama, which is Mary's real name, actually. But it's essentially Mary for argument's sake. My mother's name is John, basically. It's Juanita. That's John. And her middle name is Elizabeth. Isn't that something? Just a little piece of trivia for you about me. Why does that matter? Why should you care, or might you care? Well, guess what the 24th, what else the 24th is? It's not just the day that I was named. It's the feast day of the birth of St. John the Baptist. How's that for coincidences? So I'm going to tell you a little bit about St. John the Baptist this weekend. You know what? I'll do that right now. Let's just do that right now. The Nativity of St. John the Baptist from www.franciscanmedia.org. St. John the Baptist story. Jesus called John the greatest of all those who had preceded him. Quote, I tell you, among those born of women, no one is greater than John. End quote. But John would have agreed completely with Jesus with what he added. Quote, yet the least in the kingdom of God is greater than he. End quote. And this can be found in the book of Luke 7:28. John spent his time in the desert. He began to announce the coming of the kingdom and to call everyone to a fundamental reformation of life. His purpose was to prepare the way for Jesus. His baptism, he said, was for repentance. But one would come who would baptize with the Holy Spirit and fire. John was not worthy even to untie his sandals. His attitude toward Jesus was, quote, he must increase, I must decrease, end quote, John 3:30. John was humbled to find among the crowd of sinners who came to be baptized the one whom he already knew to be the Messiah. Quote, I need to be baptized by you, end quote, Matthew 3:14. But Jesus insisted, quote, allow it now, for thus it is fitting for us to fulfill all righteousness, end quote, Matthew 3:15. Jesus, true and humble human, as well as eternal God, was eager to do what was required of any good Jew. Jesus thus publicly entered the community of those awaiting the Messiah, but making himself part of that community, he made it truly messianic. The greatness of John, his pivotal place in history of salvation, is seen in the great emphasis Luke gives to the announcement of his birth and the event itself, both made prominently parallel to the same occurrences in the life of Jesus. John attracted countless people to the banks of the River Jordan. and it occurred to some people that he might be the Messiah. But he constantly deferred to Jesus, even to sending some away, people that were his followers. He sent them to become the first disciples of Jesus. Perhaps John's idea of the coming of the kingdom of God was not being perfectly fulfilled in the public ministry of Jesus. For whatever reason, when he was in prison, he sent his disciples to ask Jesus if he was the Messiah. Jesus' answer showed that the Messiah was to be a figure like that of the suffering servant in Isaiah. John himself would share in the pattern of messianic suffering, losing his life to the revenge of Herodias. Reflection. John challenges us Christians to the fundamental attitude of Christianity: total dependence on the Father in Christ. Even for the Mother of God, no one had a higher function in the unfolding of salvation. Yet the least in the kingdom, Jesus said, is greater than he, for the pure gift that the Father gives. The attractiveness as well as the austerity of John, his fierce courage in denouncing evil, all stem from his fundamental and total placing of his life within the will of God. That's the story of John. And I think, there's another important event on the Christian calendar this week, and it is Friday the 29th, the feast days of Saints Peter and Paul, the apostles. So I'll go straight to that now. Also from www.franciscanmedia.org. St. Mark ends the first half of his gospel with a triumphant climax. He has recorded doubt, misunderstanding, and the opposition to many to Jesus. Now Peter makes his great confession of faith. Quote, "You are the Messiah." Mark 8:29 or 8:11. There's that date again. It was one of the many glorious moments in Peter's life, beginning with the day that he was called from his nets along the Sea of Galilee to become the fisher of men for Jesus. The New Testament clearly shows Peter as the leader of the apostles, chosen by Jesus to have a special relationship with him. I would argue that Mary Magdalene is the leader of the apostles, but I digress. With James and John, he was privileged to witness the transfiguration, the raising of the dead child to life, and the agony of Gethsemane. His mother-in-law was cured by Jesus. He was sent with John to prepare for the Last Supper before Jesus' death. His name is first on every list of apostles. And to Peter, only did Jesus say, quote, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my heavenly Father. And so I say to you, you are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of the netherworld shall not prevail against it. I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven." As above, so below, right? End quote. Matthew 16:17 through 19. But the Gospels prove their own trustworthiness by the unflattering details they include about Peter. He clearly had no public relation person. It was a great comfort for ordinary mortals to know that Peter also has his human weakness, even in the presence of Jesus. He generously gave up all things, yet he can ask in a childish self-regard, quote, "What are we going to get for all this?" End quote. See Matthew 19:27 or 19:11 or 11:19 transposed. He receives the full force of Christ's anger when he objects to the idea of a suffering Messiah. Quote, "Get behind me, Satan. You are an obstacle to me. You are thinking not as God does, but as human beings do." End quote. Matthew 16:23. Jesus wants us to think like ascended beings. Okay, it's right there. Peter is willing to accept Jesus' doctrine of forgiveness, but suggests a limit of 7 times. He walks on the water in faith, but sinks in doubt. He refuses to let Jesus wash his feet, then wants his whole body cleansed. He swears at the Last Supper that he will never deny Jesus, and then swears to a servant maid that he has never known the man. He loyally resists the first attempt to arrest Jesus by cutting off Malchus's ear, but in the end, he runs away with others. In the depth of his sorrow, Jesus looks on him and forgives him, and he goes out and sheds bitter tears. The risen Jesus told Peter to feed his lambs and his sheep. John 21:15 through 17. Paul. If the most well-known preacher today suddenly began preaching that the United States should adopt Marxism and not rely on the Constitution, the angry reaction would give us understanding of Paul's life when he started preaching that Christ alone can save us. He had been the most Pharisaic of Pharisees, the most legalistic of Mosaic lawyers. He now suddenly appears to other Jews as a heretical welcomer of Gentiles, a traitor, an apostate. Paul's central conviction was simple and absolute. Only God can save humanity. No human effort, even the most scrupulous observance of law, can create a human good which we can bring to God as reparation for sin and payment for grace. To be saved from itself, from sin, from the devil, and from death, humanity must open itself completely to the saving power of Jesus. Paul never lost his love for the Jewish family, though he carried on a lifelong debate with them about the uselessness of the law without Christ. He reminded the Gentiles that they were grafted on the parent stock of the Jews, who were still God's chosen people, the children of the promise. Reflection. We would probably go to confession to Peter sooner than to any of the other apostles. He is perhaps a more striking example of the simplest fact of holiness. Jesus says to us, as he said, in effect, to Peter, quote, "It is not you who have chosen me, but I who have chosen you." Peter, it is not human wisdom that makes it possible for you to believe, but my Father's revelation. I, not you, build my church. End quote. Paul's experience of the risen Jesus on the road to Damascus was the driving force that made him one of the most zealous, dynamic, and courageous ambassadors of Christ the church has ever had. But persecution, humiliation, and weakness became his day-by-day carrying of the cross, material for further transformation. The dying Christ was in him. The living Christ was his life. On the Jewish calendar this week, only the 30th, June 30th, will be celebrated, and that is a feast day known as the 17th of Tammuz. So I explained to you that the month of Tammuz began on the 14th, and it is essentially the month of suffering, the month of sorrow. And that is because it is the month during which, on separate years, both temples of Jerusalem were destroyed. Both times it fell into this month. And so that's what's recognized on the 30th by the 17th of Tammuz. And it begins a 3-week period that's referred to actually as the 3 weeks. I'll go ahead and read about that now from www.wikipedia.org. 17th of Tammuz. It's a Jewish fast day commemorating the breach of the walls of Jerusalem before the destruction of the Second Temple. It falls on the 17th day of the Hebrew month of Tammuz and marks the beginning of the 3-week mourning period leading up to Tisha B'Av. The day also traditionally commemorates the destruction of the 2 tablets of the 10 Commandments and other historical calamities that befell the Jewish people on the same date. And of course, you can read further if you like from www.wikipedia.org or anywhere you choose. I'm going to move on to what's going on in the celestial system this week. And so that would include June 26th at 5:04 p.m. Mars enters retrograde. Also on June 26th at 8:41 p.m. Pluto quintile Chiron. On June 28th, 12:53 a.m. full moon in Capricorn. June 29th, Mercury enters Leo. All right, I'm going to try to go in order. Now, I just noticed it's interesting. On one thing, I have written down here that the Mars retrograde begins at 5:04 p.m. But on findyourfate.com, it says 4:41 p.m. Maybe it's two different time zones. I'm not sure. Or one is incorrect, possibly. I'm not sure. But in any case, what I do know for sure is that it's occurring 9 degrees 13 Aquarius. Also at 5:04 p.m. equals 9. Okay, or 4:41 p.m. also equals 9. So either way you look at it, that 9 has been sticking out to me. So I'll begin with that one first. Again, from www.findyourfate.com. Mars takes approximately 2 years or 687 days to do a complete revolution around the sun. Mars moves into retrograde every 2 years and 2 months. And then he stays there that way for about 55 to 80 days. When Mars goes retrograde, any direct action becomes difficult. Traveling within finishing tasks, left complete, renovating or repairing, will work better than pushing forwards with any new ventures. So rather than starting a new project, if you're fixing up something old or finishing something that's not yet complete, you'll do better than trying to start brand new. Okay, with Mars, it's not going to let you. Sounds a little Mercury retrograde-ish, doesn't it? Speaking of Mercury, that might be the next thing up. Is it? No. Also, again, on June 26th as well, at 8:41 p.m., Pluto quintile Chiron. So from www.aquarianage.org, I have a little list of aspects and how they, with Chiron, and I'm going to read Chiron Pluto. The native blessed or cursed with this combination is intense, dramatic, profound, and deep. There can be deep and hidden scars from childhood that either strengthen or break the individual later in life. Stressed that there can be huge struggles throughout life, and there is a virtual certainty of some form of childhood abandonment or rejection. So this is for people with the Chiron Pluto aspect in their chart, it sounds like. If you have this placement, there are 2 keys to healing. Know yourself and find a way to turn your own pain into a tool to heal others. So maybe, for example, those people who become motivational speakers and public speakers about their experience in life, people that speak up about being raped, like the Me Too movement, or Black Lives Matter, mothers who have lost their sons, speaking out publicly, using your hurt to heal other people and to help other people. Sounds like what now I would imagine and hope and pray that any of that that we'll be doing will be on a much smaller scale, but this may be what we will be doing over this period, is using our pain to help another. Next on the list is the full moon in Capricorn, and for that I'm going to www.rubyslipper.ca and her full moon in Capricorn with Saturn retrograde. She's right. Saturn is retrograde in Capricorn. Saturn, which rules Capricorn, retrograde in that zodiac sign. So I'm sure that will come into play. I agree with her. She wrote this on June 18th, 2018. Her name is Nadia Gilchrist. I don't know this woman. I just, like I said, I type in the first thing. If I don't feel a bad, funky vibe about it, I'm going to go ahead and read it, and I don't. So I'm going to read this one. The June 28th Capricorn full moon, 6 degrees, occurs at 12:52 a.m. EDT. It conjoins Saturn retrograde in Capricorn, which will be the illumined rule, restriction, or issue with authority that you're returning to. The vibe will be heavy. This is about taking responsibility for something or directing all of your energy towards a goal. It won't be easy, and the result or ending will demand your utmost effort. Capricorn/Cancer is the parent/child polarity. So there will be also themes of being an adult versus being helpless. This moon makes a wide square to Chiron in Aries. So the sub-theme will be about taking responsibility for what hurts or where you feel weak and vulnerable. Chiron and Aries people are the kind to get up and dust themselves off. So that's, I guess, I'm presuming why they refer to it like that. And I know that to be true because my Chiron is in Aries. So you can trust me on that one. The responsibility itself may be what triggers the wound. Either way, you'll be looking at how to deal with uncomfortable situations that push you to confront what you'd rather not confront. The moon also makes a wide trine to Uranus and Taurus, so there will be some encouragement to incorporate new rules and new structures. Mars will also be in Aquarius and retrograde at the time, so forward movement will be very slow or non-existent. However, Mars retrograde and Saturn retrograde do favor stepping back to redo or rebuild or to take another shot at something that requires work. And the trine to Uranus says that you can do it differently. Maybe this is what the square to Chiron is about. You're battling a sense of failure, or you simply don't think you can handle the responsibility, but you can and you will. And last on the list, June 29th, 1:16 a.m., Mercury enters Leo. For that, I am going to www.tarot.com. When Mercury is in Leo, fire sign Leo is all about direct communication. So we won't hold back when Mercury and Leo team up, because Mercury is the communication planet, right? So if Leo is about direct communication, Mercury is it's matched. If something has been on our mind, but we've been too intimidated to say it, this is the time when we'll finally have the guts to speak up. Yes. Can you see the men grabbing their balls all over the world and saying what they have to say? Finally, those who haven't, I can't wait. Just be careful, because Mercury is speedy and Leo is expressive. So words can come flying out of our mouths a little too well. Mercury in Leo gives us license to thrill. Leo is one of the most entertaining and high impact zodiac signs, so we can expect a lot of jokes and laughter during this transit. An added benefit, Leo is social, meaning there will be plenty of lighthearted and witty banter to go around. Think of the confident lion mane blowing in the wind, strutting his stuff. This is our time to shine. We'll all adopt some of that self-assured swagger, making it easier to get up in front of a crowd and to put ourselves out there. If we've been putting off any speaking engagements, Mercury in Leo would be the perfect time to finally go through with it. Our creative juices could start flowing when Mercury is in Leo. This is an opportunity to channel all of Leo's passion and enthusiasm into an artistic pursuit of some kind. We might find ourselves picking up those paintbrushes or dusting off our cameras so that we can get out there and create. And don't forget, Venus is also there in Leo. For us Geminis, that's right, both of our rulers will be in Leo at the same time. Leo is my rising sign on top of that. So this should be pretty exciting and interesting. That's it for what's going on in the sky, in the spiritual world, and all that kind of stuff this week. So I'm going to the dice. Beginning with romantic dinner. Yes. Maybe somebody accepts a proposal over dinner. And cocktail to celebrate. Cheers. Spirit says party. Did I say happy birthday to all the Cancers? And if I didn't, there you go. Happy birthday, Cancers. Maybe that's what the party is for. Or maybe it's an engagement party, a celebration party for this yes, because yes is back. And sex joins us as well this week. Very nice. Both decks. Both tarot decks, the angel and the animal, starting with the King of Water this week. The King of Water is trustworthy, compassionate, respected, and cultured. Open your heart and mind to those around you. Trustworthy and heartfelt advice and charity work, which is love as far as I'm concerned. And opening to the Dreamer with Archangel Metatron, which in this deck reminds me or speaks to me as the planet Mercury, ruler of Gemini and Virgo. So that's what this card represents. A leap of faith. Follow your dreams that leads to unexpected opportunities. Major Arcana card 0, or the Dreamer, is the Fool in the traditional tarot. And I would say this is taking a chance on love with the Fool opposite the King of Water. The Dreamer. Here comes Uranus, the star with Archangel Jophiel. Happy times, make positive, optimistic, long-term plans. You are on the right path. Major Arcana card number 17 is another 8 for us. And the star is all about communication, and particularly communication that's electronic as far as I'm concerned. The sign of the planet Uranus and the sign of Aquarius rule technology. So like email and online dating and all that kind of stuff. But I consider like telepathy and all of that electronic communication too, because we're like electronic, and electric beings, The star also about our wishes coming true, our prayers being answered, our dreams coming true. And isn't that funny? It's opposite the Dreamer or the Fool. So these things that you've been conceiving, that you've been wanting to do, now's the time to jump out there and go for it. The star. And here comes Capricorn. Right, we just did all that reading about Capricorn and Saturn, which rules it. And here we go with Major Arcana card number 15. It's called Ego in this deck, but this is the Devil in the traditional tarot. A false sense of entrapment, being overly focused on material things and negative or fear-based thoughts. So this is the opposite of jumping out and, taking a chance. This is being paranoid and convincing yourself that you're stuck, that you're limited, that your dreams can't come true, that your prayers won't be answered. That's what this is. Devil. And the Queen of Fire, who is confident, warm, intelligent, and graceful. Stretch your wings and fly. Don't underestimate yourself. Okay, that's what this person is doing. Instead, insert your independence and creativity. The Queen of Fire is a Leo, Sagittarius, Aries, or maybe even a Scorpio. I say that because Mars rules both Aries and Scorpio, and because Jupiter, ruler of Sagittarius, is currently retrograde in Scorpio. So these red planets can be representing, and fire energies can be representing Scorpio too. And speaking of fire energies, I've come to the Ten of Fire. Too much work, accept help from others. Life is out of balance, and that leads to stress-related health concerns. Yes, in some aspects, this can just be about us being really, really busy, which it sounds like we might be during this, next period. But otherwise, this is about just being burdened or feeling burdened. And, you got to lay those burdens down or hand some to somebody else. We got to, it's 50-50. We got to share the load or something. Overall energy, another 8. It's the 8 of Earth. Skilled work is rewarded. Learning all there is to know about a topic and going back to school. This is about reaping what you have sown. So whatever area you put that work into, whether it was school, something at the job, a relationship, a combination of those, you've been putting your efforts into a few different things, and you're going to reap what you've sown in those areas. Wherever you've planted seeds, that's where you're going to pluck something out the ground. Crowning the masculine this week, the Page of Earth, who's scholarly, dependable, patient, and successful. Good news about financial matters, wanting to do something more challenging and maybe even a new area of study. So this too is about opportunity coming your way, news of opportunity coming your way of a financial or material means. It can be a relationship as well. And if so, it is one that is of which you are worthy and the other party is worthy of you. The relationship itself will have value, and there's an indication of longevity, like it'll last, the test of time. Surrounding the masculine this week, the king of fire, who's motivational, idealistic, ambitious, and charismatic. Focus, 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 and communicate with vision. Be a leader. Take advice from someone creative. The king of fire, like the queen that showed up here before, is also a Leo, Sagittarius, Aries, or maybe a Scorpio, and is the representation of the divine masculine in the tarot. The masculine subconscious. It's the magician. I like this being on his mind. This is manifestation. This is exactly in this what placement this belongs in. The magician represents the sign of Gemini for me, or perhaps another mutable sign. Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces as well. Maybe that'll turn up on the table later. You are ready. You have the resources or the ability to manifest them. Life is magical. Ones, all about manifestation. When you see the multiple ones like the 1111, it doesn't mean twin flame. It doesn't mean all the stuff that what people say is foolishness. What the multiple ones mean is it's the universe trying to get your attention and say, hey, watch your thoughts. Watch the word you're speaking over your life, because you're manifesting them right now. It's not saying to you that the words or the thoughts or words are bad that you're thinking at the moment. It's just pointing out to you that whatever they are, you are manifesting them. So it's reminding you to keep them positive. Crowning the feminine. The Knight of Air, intelligent, decisive, idealistic, and tireless. Events that occur with great speed. Take time to carefully review your options so you can come up with creative solutions. The Knight of Air is an indication that somebody has a decision to make. The feminine has a decision to make or is awaiting some sort of decision, perhaps from the masculine or someone else. The Knight of Air is a Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Surrounding the feminine, it's another knight. This is the most romantic one of all, if you ask me. The Knight of Water is emotional, romantic, enthusiastic, and contemplative. Falling in love or wedding proposals, the need to balance emotions, and an invitation to a social event. The Knight of Water is the kind that's like outside your window serenading you, in my opinion. And it's a different kind of romantic from the Knight of Wands. Now the Knight of Wands is Prince Charming. That's different from me. Prince Charming is the one that comes by on this horse. He doesn't even stop the horse. He grabs you, he throws you on the back, and he keeps going, and he saves your life. He's wonderful. But this one is more romantic. He's serenading, he's sensitive, he's caring, he's loving, that. At the feminine subconscious this week, the Seven of Fire. Defend your beliefs and decisions. Stand your ground, but choose your battles wisely. I mentioned the Knight of Water is a Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio, someone likened to those traits or attributes. This can be the other mutable sign showing up for the magician. So now we have them all, right? Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces. Crowning the Queen of Water, who's tenderhearted, empathetic, patient, and loving. Relationships develop to a new level. Trust your intuition. Care for yourself and others. Feminine may need to take her intuition into account for whatever this decision is she has to make, or in receiving the decision to see if the other person is talking shit or if they're, really about what they say. Use your intuition to determine that. At the root, the Five of Water, womp womp, things not turning out the way you'd hoped, not seeing the positive in a situation and crying over spilled milk. Five of Water for me is really the energy of arrogance, of being super obnoxious, of not counting your blessings, of not being thankful. It's just being unappreciative, in my opinion. Because you see, we've got these two beautiful cups here, but the concern is with these. It's like you're never happy, you're never satisfied. With all the other stuff that you have here that's awesome, we have a table thus far of all court cards, with the exception, or major arcana, with the exception of the Seven of Fire, which isn't bad. But, we'd still be like, oh, man, I don't have them all, though. They're not all court cards. You know what I mean? That's what this card is. At the heart of the matter, the Dreamer's back. Again, represents for me the signs of Virgo and Gemini, and the planet Mercury, which rules both, and enters Leo this week. A leap of faith. Follow your dreams. That leads to unexpected opportunities. The dreamer, again, is the fool in the traditional tarot, all about embarking upon a brand new path. You never walked this path before. If it feels or looks familiar, you know, it's just not. You're just going to do everything a different way. Again, I'm going to clarify these a little further with another tarot deck, beginning yet again with the King of Summer. Warm-hearted, devoted, loving, and faithful is the King of Summer. A trustworthy person or relationship enters your life. You may receive wise and compassionate advice from someone who speaks directly from the heart. The King of Summer, like all these court cards of the suit of water, is a Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. And opening to yet another 8 of Earth. You remember the 8 of Earth is our overall energy on this deck. Here is another one. It's the perfect time to learn all you can by returning to school, taking a seminar, or conducting research. Do your best work, and the law of attraction will bring you prosperity and career advancement. Again, whatever you put your efforts into, you are going to reap the benefits, is what this is saying. And we'll make note of yet another 8 here. King of Summer. And the 7 of Autumn. The planning, resources, and efforts that you've invested in your dream will reap great rewards. In the meantime, have patience and meditate on your next steps. For those of you not yet harvesting, a little more patience required. 7 of Autumn. And it's the Princess of Summer, the Page. Sensitive, kind, open-hearted, and inexperienced is the Princess of Summer. She's also a Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio, like this knight and this queen and the kings that we've started with. You can expect to kindle a new romantic relationship or a close platonic friendship. You may suddenly receive an emotional message from someone or be invited to a social event. Seven of Autumn. Very nice. And it's another Knight of Water. The Prince of Summer is the Knight of Water. He's romantic, flirtatious, introspective, and enchanting. A deeply emotional and probably romantic experience will sweep you off your feet. Things can move very quickly during such a whirlwind encounter, so stay balanced and make decisions with both your heart and your intellect. Your heart and your intellect. Knight of Water, Knight of Air. Overall energy in this deck is the Queen of Autumn, who's thoughtful, caring, creative, and ingenious. You'll be given advice that's both practical and creative and should be followed precisely. Focus only upon the positive in every situation or person. The Queen of Autumn is quite likely a Capricorn, with all the Capricorn and Saturn energy that's about this week, but can also be a Virgo or Taurus as well, or anyone likened to these traits or attributes. Atop the page of Earth is ego. So this page of Earth must be representing Capricorn or telling us about Capricorn. You may feel that you're trapped in your situation, but that's not true. Be careful not to overly focus upon material wealth and break free of negative thinking. Ego, or Major Arcana card 15, represents the sign of Capricorn and is the devil in the traditional tarot. And what this is saying is don't be controlled by money and married to money and worried about it. Money is coming in, and particularly if you don't worry about it. If you let it go, and just think positively, you will attract it. Remember, you're manifesting. the important thing is to think positive. If you allow your head to go into ego and fear and pride and all that and worry, and as if the universe doesn't care about you and won't help you, then it won't. Okay, but otherwise, there's good news. The page comes with good news about financial matters. The money is coming. So let go of these chains that bind you. So I had the book of Timothy. Timothy 2 talks about like money being God. And that just popped into my head too. So be mindful of that and careful of that. Because when money is God, it's because it's the devil. You know, that's the God that you're worshiping, the devil. Surrounding the masculine, atop the king of fire. The 10 of autumn. Contentment comes from knowing that your finances are secure and your family's material needs are taken care of. It's important to honor traditions and to have pride in your heritage and the accomplishments of your ancestors. Somebody's family member, maybe particularly a male, maybe like specifically a father, a grandfather, maybe leaving them some sort of inheritance. The 10 of autumn can represent a large sum of money, but I feel it connected to a masculine energy, not just because it's on this side. Like I feel it connected through where it's coming from masculine energy. This also, again, can be the masculine, the divine masculine, just feeling confident and as if he is like the leader of his family and the provider. He could have that energy. And maybe that's why he's worried here. But again, I don't care why you're worried. Get rid of it. Masculine subconscious atop the magician and his ability to manifest whatever he needs rather than worry is the king of autumn. Boom, told you. This you can bring this money in, and you will bring this money in if you don't allow yourself to be held back and bound by the chains of the devil. Everything's going to turn out great. Projects will be stunningly successful. Exciting new career opportunities are possible, and money or resources that come your way will be invested wisely. The King of Autumn is compassionate, accomplished, charismatic, and grounded. He's not paranoid. All right. He's also a Capricorn, Virgo, or Taurus, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Masculine is also a good time for you to apply for credit and things like that too. You may even be offered jobs that you didn't apply for. Like somebody may put your name in with this energy of the 8 of earth as our overall energy. And now the 3 of water sticking up. Maybe we'll be celebrating you accepting a job or something, or coming into some money. Remember, our overall energy on this deck is the Queen of Autumn. So there's pentacles all over the place. It is a very good week in the area of materials and finance, at least thus far for the masculine. But of course, the feminine would share in this overall energy too. And when I went to pick this up, right behind it is the four of winter. But that was, it was covered. And instead, what I was shown is the Princess of Autumn is also here too. This is another page, basically, of autumn, telling us that news, good news about financial matters is coming. So this is a very good week for the financial and the material masculine. If you want to apply for credit, that can be what this reflects too. This can be the masculine, applying and then being able to be the provider, coming through with some sort of loan or card, and he's able to buy a car or a house or, whatever it is. I don't know. Put the kids through college. With the page here, he's able to, pay for school, put himself in college, all those sorts of things. Crowning the feminine atop the Knight of Air, and the decision she has to make is maybe about some partnership or that she's awaiting for, the decision she's awaiting or has to make. Your vision, creativity, and dedication to your cause have brought you great success. In fact, it may be in your best interest to get a partner to assist you in your endeavors or to expand the number of people helping you. We have Mercury in Leo, Venus in Leo, Mars in Aquarius. We have a lot of air and fire energy surrounding us right now. But this, again, the Knight of Air is about the need to make some sort of decision, and rather quickly. Like you want this partnership or no? You with me or nah? that sort of thing, like right away. The two of spring, of course, a representation of the divine union, the twin flame connection in the tarot. The king of fire is one half of this, this two of wands. Atop the knight of water, very appropriately, it's a knight of water. Perhaps it's a Scorpio, maybe. Release or death, major arcana card 13, is all about the need to release the past and to move on to something new. This ending is the first step on the way to a happier future. Feminine, you may just be guided to let go of old energies and to instead embrace this new energy of love. And again, take on a partnership. Maybe that's a romantic one. Quite possible. Perhaps with an air sign, or maybe you're an air sign and you're going to embark upon a relationship with a water sign, maybe specifically a Scorpio. Atop the seven of fire in this decision, right? There's a need to make a decision up here. The seven of fire or seven of wands is all about defending the decisions that we've made and sticking by them and standing our ground and not letting anybody push us around and change our mind if we don't want to. Atop that energy, the seven of fire, is the prince of autumn. Somebody else enters the picture. Well, this could be a Virgo maybe, because again, this could be representing Mercury, this knight of air. Or this could be a Taurus, because this could be representing Venus. Whatever it is, it's important to make a detailed plan before starting any new endeavor. Once you have the plan in place, then you can take immediate action, which is what the Knight of Air wants to do, and get as much accomplished as possible. The Prince of Autumn is trustworthy, dedicated, protective, and funny. And he is also a Capricorn, Virgo, or Taurus, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. And we have Autumn at this point. The Page, the Queen, the King, and a few of them in repeat. So yeah, it's definitely a good week for the material. Feminine, if this is not a romantic partnership, if this is a business partnership or something having to do with money, it's still, to your benefit to go ahead and, release whatever is holding you back from moving forward and say yes. Crowning atop the Queen of Water. It's another, perhaps, Queen of Water. Renewal or judgment also represents the sign of Scorpio for me. So we got like Scorpio crossing Scorpio. Scorpio's other ruler, other than Mars, currently retrograde in Capricorn, Pluto. It's time to get clarity about your life and your life purpose and make changes so that you're on the path most divinely suited to you. Forgive what has been without judgment. Isn't that what I was saying here before? Let go of the past funky energies and negative energies and instead replace it with energy of love. Forgive whatever was old and whatever happened before. We're moving on from that. And, we're going to move on without judgment too, right? Judgment and vengeance is the universe's or God's or, is mine, saith the Lord. Instead, we're just going to fearlessly embrace what's to come in our life and worry about that. As it relates to finances and the material, judgment is about earning, like what you've earned, it's coming to you. It's abundance that's earned and it's coming to you. It can be about ascension too. You're being raised, promoted, as above, so below. So it can show up in the form of something tangible and money or material, wealth, or it can be that we've been elevated, and eventually it will be something tangible no matter what. If we receive promotion from the universe, we get upgraded. Things begin to happen in our life when we see the flow of abundance. So that's what that is. As it relates to partnerships, perhaps, or relationships of all kinds, really, judgment is about having come to some sort of crossroad. And there's a need to make a decision. Where do we go from here, if anywhere? So that can be the decision on which the feminine is waiting. And we have a 2 here and a 2 here. So it's definitely about partnership. And with them being atop the Queen of Water and the Knight of Water, probably partnership that is romantic, probably, but doesn't have to be. The 13, of course, is also not a 2, but a 22. 13, 4, 22, 11, 11. all the same numbers. At the root, atop the 5 of water, the 8 of autumn. It's the perfect time to learn all you can by returning to school, taking a seminar, or conducting research. Do your best work, and the law of attraction will bring you prosperity and advancement. So I think here, this 5 of water is just about, it's like being doubtful and pessimistic, but there really is no reason to be that way with what we're surrounded. So again, I'll just ask and suggest that you shake off that energy if you feel that you are one to whom it applies. At the heart of the matter, atop the Fool, it's the Hermit. Interesting. Major Arcana card 9. Then I say the time was going to be 9 and the degree was going to be 9, where that full moon in Capricorn was. Take time for contemplation, to retreat and to go within. Be a beacon for others on their path to spiritual enlightenment. The Hermit represents the sign of Virgo, or perhaps another earth sign like Capricorn or Taurus. And it sits here for us atop the Fool. You're going within, you're seeking enlightenment, you're trying to come to a decision, a revelation, an understanding about yourself to decide whether or not you want to take a leap and a chance on whatever this new path is for you. It may be business partnership. It may be friendship. It may be romance. It may be getting back together with an old friend or an old romantic partner, or even a family member, letting somebody back into your life. It may be taking a job. It may be starting your own business. It may be going to school. But whatever it is, it's all positive this week. And it's all like bountiful and full of abundance. Also this week for us, you know what, I'm going to hold off on the advice. Also this week for us, I wanted to take a look at some of the Archangel Raphael cards, because he is the patron of healing, and the emerald ray is the ray of healing, and that's from where he hails. And with all the healing that I've seen the need for, and as I spoke to you in the general reading and the love reading for the week prior, and I've demonstrated, I hope, and shown you is really happening, and a bunch of you have responded, yes, it's happening. Right before I watched your video, I wish I had seen it already, because my stone broke in 3 places, my earrings are falling out, my hair is falling out, my nails are breaking, my things that I've had for years keep falling apart. My bracelet came off, it's broken. I've heard all of these things from you. Just like you said, this is happening. And so with all that need for healing, not only am I thinking that I may extend my sale, the 2112 sale, which is all about the Gemini new moon, the summer solstice, and this leading up to the full solar eclipse on August 11th. Not only am I thinking about that, but I'm also just thinking in general about asking the universe, and maybe Archangel Raphael specifically, what other healing might we need. So my hydration card is here for all. It's ripped, so I don't use it. But it says, Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for motivating and guiding me to drink more water so that my health, energy, and appetite stay at optimal levels throughout each day. And so we can all use that reminder to drink enough water. And of course, water, particularly in my opinion, spring water, helps us to remain, at the right pH level, more alkaline, which helps us to continue to ascend and to, vibrate on a higher level. All right, so I'm going to begin with listen to your intuitive feelings. Dear higher self, thank you for speaking loudly and clearly in peaceful ways that I easily understand. Archangel Raphael, thank you for guiding me to listen to my inner wisdom. And opening 2, diet is important here. Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for guiding me to make positive eating and drinking choices for reducing or eliminating my cravings for unhealthful substances. Yes, because again, that will help us to continue to vibrate on a higher level and hopefully minimize or prevent the, attacks that are coming at us. But I doubt prevent, but I still want to say prevent. And the reason I'm saying I doubt prevent is not that we can't conquer anything, but this is war. And this particular time, the attack is heavy. So I want to be clear about that. And I don't want people who necessarily aren't protected enough to be thinking, oh, okay, I'm fine. So I just want to make sure that I emphasize how very serious it is. Opening to change physicians. Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for leading me to the best healer for this situation. Amen. The best healer for this situation is one, of the spiritual, one of the divine, one of the light, whether that is a yoga practitioner, or a massage therapist, or somebody like me, an energy healer, or tarot reader even, that can give you information. That's the type of healer that you need right now, as opposed to some other sort of practitioner. And alternative medicine. So it's a reconfirmation of that. Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for guiding me to the ideal healing treatment modality and for giving me clear signs and messages to validate the best path for my well-being. And just like the die said in the beginning, yes, dear Archangel Raphael, please help me trust my feelings as the accurate barometer of truth. Yes. Oh, this one just jumped out. I'm going to use it as an additional one for both the masculine and feminine archetypes because I don't know where it wanted to go. Okay, what is this? Second opinion. Dear God and Archangel Raphael, guide me to the best healthcare professionals for this situation. If you are having some sort of health situation and you've been told by one doctor, this is all we can do, you don't have any options or whatever, please go to another one. Crowning the masculine, atop ego or the devil, and the page of earth is avoid allergens. So this is going to be avoiding people, circumstances, and situations that hold you back and that make you ill, that are toxic for you. They're allergens. Dear Archangel Raphael, please assist me in identifying and avoiding allergens that may be toxic to my health and happiness. Help me to only crave healthful foods and beverages, and I'm going to add, and relationships and situations and circumstances too. Atop the 10 of autumn and the King of fire, have faith. Dear Jesus and Archangel Raphael, thank you for boosting my faith so that I may trust in miracles. So again, this is guiding you to believe that you can manifest this money and or material thing, whatever this is that you need, you can manifest it or bring it into your life. You do not have to give your attention over to negative energy and fear-based thoughts. Have faith that in yourself that you can do that. And in the universe that it provides when you do that. At the root, atop the magician and the king of autumn, sobriety. And I'm going to connect this sobriety to the devil too, because the devil can be about addictions and codependency of all kinds. And I definitely think it's connected to codependency as it relates to negative and toxic relationships for you here. Being clarified by avoid allergens. So I think this is along those same lines. Dear God and Archangel Raphael, thank you for adjusting my cravings in healthful directions so that I only desire life-affirming foods and beverages. Again, I'm going to add, and relationships and circumstances. Atop the Knight of Air and the Two of Spring for the feminine, stay positive. Yes, dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for helping me to be optimistic and to take the appropriate action steps like making a decision that support my health. Atop death and the Knight of Water. Leave behind a stressful situation. Okay, let go of that past energy. It's dead. Leave it behind. Leave it there. It's dead. It's stinking. Let it go. Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for giving me the courage and willingness to take good care of myself, including surrounding myself with healthful relationships and positive situations. So we're going to leave the negative behind, just like I've been saying. Prince of Autumn and the Seven of Fire being clarified by fresh air. This is like being able to take a breath of fresh air because we're not worried anymore. We're not concerned with what other people think anymore. We're doing our own thing. And that's it. Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for helping me to breathe easier in all ways. This is like we can let our hair down, we can relax because we're just not uptight anymore about worrying about what other people have to say. Atop Judgment and the Queen of Water. Do more research. So maybe with regard to whatever this judgment is, this could be connected to the need to make a decision too. A judgment. And you don't want to rush to judgment. You want to do more research first. Dear God and Archangel Raphael, thank you for clearly and gently leading me to the information that I need to know for my well-being. Please give me the courage to be assertive as I take charge of my healthcare needs. Atop the 8 of Autumn and the 5 of Cups is stretch. Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for staying by my side and for motivating me to take excellent care of myself in all ways. And when I see this stretch card, it reminds me of like trying to reach up our hands, and like grab the universe and hug it and say thank you and all that kind of stuff. I think that's why it showed up here on top of the 5 of Water, because that's an energy of being ungrateful for me. So instead of doing that, instead of being pessimistic, instead of being obnoxious, reach up and say thank you for what you have and what you will have. And atop the Dreamer and the Hermit, unconditional joy when we walk down this new path. Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for helping me to appreciate. You see why it's right on top of this 5 of Water? To appreciate everything that makes me happy right now. Everything. Even the small things. Further to that, specifically to the masculine, Archangel Raphael says sunlight. Dear Archangel Raphael, please help me enjoy the benefits of sunshine in safe and healthy ways. And I'm not going to know which masculine it is or which masculine it is. But some of you need some vitamin D. That just came out. Maybe some vitamin C too. So whoever's not taking a vitamin, if you're an adult, male or female of the masculine persuasion, and you are not taking a vitamin, maybe get a multi, and then that should cover all the stuff that's coming out of this card. Feminine, meditation. Dear Archangel Raphael, please meditate with me and guide my mind and body to focus upon peace, health, and wellness. From the Angel Tarot to the masculine, unity, which represents more earth, the sign of Taurus. Unity is the high priest or the Hierophant in the tarot, which again can be about going to school, or signing important documents, coming into some sort of money, inheritance, an asset or something, higher education, marriage, commitment, all types of legality, maybe surrounding, again, money. And it can be about with whom, what, and where we surround ourselves, and the need to make adjustments and cut some people off. People that we're going to call allergens, okay? Traditional viewpoints or methods. Spiritual organizations seek out mentors and like-minded friends. From the angels to the feminine this week, the 10 of air. It's the end of a difficult situation. If you had been in a situation where you felt betrayed, backstabbed, or just that it was difficult and you just couldn't get out of the rut, it's coming to an end. Embrace the change and expect things to get better now. Somebody may even be recovering from an addiction. Maybe it's the masculine, or maybe you were the one with the addiction and he was concerned about you. Maybe that's from where this worry comes. Whoever had the addiction or the codependency, we can expect them to work through that at this point. And if we do, and we remain positive going forward, we shouldn't have to deal with that same energy again. And for the masculine, the 6th of summer, the love and care of children could become an important part of your life, or people from your childhood may return to it. That can absolutely happen with all the retrograde energy around us. You'll be bumping into people and seeing old friends and old flames, as they say. Six of Summer, also a card of past life relationships and soulmate unions for me. Old memories can be healed as well. Hopefully that happens. This is, again, a time of healing. Or possibly old childhood dreams are ready to be revived. Maybe that's the dream, that we're going to take a leap on. And lastly, for the feminine, it's the Seven of Autumn. Yet again, we just got a table full of pentacles here. The planning, resources, and efforts that you've invested in your dream will reap great rewards. In the meantime, have patience and meditate on your next steps. No worries this week. I like this week. I'm looking forward to the love reading, and I'll be back with it. Namaste, angels.